Hey man, it's Kevin Smith.
Hey, this is Jay Music.
Hey, I'm Scott Snyder.
I'm Cena Grace.
And you're listening
to The Absolute Geek.
The Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek Podcast.
Check it out, Snoogans.
eBay and comic auctions.
Yes.
We're not going to dive really deep into it. We're just going to give you a little corner of it. And what we want to talk about today is just some things that you might want to look out for if you only have a picture to go off of. One picture. There's a couple things you want to look for. Kyle, you wanna go ahead and start?
And guys, before we get too into this, I want to make sure you all know that we're doing these segments for you, the first time collector, or people who are just getting into collecting or might want some more information. Feel free to ask questions in the chat about the topic we're covering. If you have questions or if you feel like there's something we missed that you want us to touch on, make sure to say it in the chat. We can see all the chats, no matter whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Mixer. You go ahead and put it in your chat. We can see them, and we'll answer your questions. So without any other interruption, I'll kick it off to Kyle.
So when looking on eBay and these Facebook auctions and everything, the first thing I would recommend is don't be scared to ask for more pictures.
Yes.
A lot of people like to not give very many pictures. And it's great to zoom in, and it's great to try to get that extra, but sometimes that one picture of the front of the book is just not enough. We want to see the corners. We want to see the back cover. We want to see the spine. We want to see a couple pages on the inside. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
If you want to see that. There are.
If you don't care what your book looks like.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. If you don't care what your book looks like, then just go ahead and bid on that stuff. Now, I like how one of the important thing about that, what Kyle said, is ask for the pictures. Don't expect them, okay? Because some eBay sellers or comic sellers on Facebook, they don't have to put those things up. If you really want that book, you're buying it from them, ask for extra pictures. If they don't give you the pictures and you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But it's not hard just to send a quick sentence to say, hey, can I get a couple pictures? And most of the time, 99% of the time, I think people will reply and say, no problem. Let me get you what you want. And one of the ones that I always like is like a side view where you can get the glare from the light so you can see if there's any dents or spine ticks. Because you're not going to see those spine ticks or those dents if you're looking from a straight on picture. You kind of have to. If you have a comic, it's very simple. All you have to do is pull the comic out and just kind of tilt it. You'll see the light. Maybe. Yeah, the light glare off of it. You'll see dents. You'll see tears. You'll see spine ticks, and those can be big issues if you think you're buying a high grade book. Also, make sure when you're looking at spine ticks that you're looking for color breaking spine ticks. Color breaking spine ticks are the death of a high grade book, because sometimes they're not easy to see, and you'll send a book in and there'll be like 3 or 4 that you just could not see, or 1 or 2 you could not see, and they will ding a book for spine ticks. Now, non-color breaking spine ticks, and basically what that means is a spine tick is like a crease in the spine of the book, and if it's bad enough, you'll actually see it break the color almost like a little rip in the book. So,
do you have anything to kind of show examples?
I don't, unfortunately. I don't have any examples right now. But you guys can see this in your books at home. You just pull out a book, take a look at the spine. If there's no color breaking ticks in there and they're just little dents, those can be pressed out. And we'll talk more in the future about pressing, but just know those can be pressed out to. If it's a very high grade, a high key that you want to try and get high grade, it can be those non-color breaking ticks can be pressed out. So those are a couple things to look for on the spine of those pictures.
And another thing is, if someone's not willing to send you more pictures, immediately take that as a red flag. Either they don't give a shit about having you as a customer, or there's something that they don't want you to see until you end up with the book. Because it's just like any type of sell, the ability to be able to examine the merchandise is very important.
Yes.
And it's something we all do when we're looking through books.
Yeah.
So
Jose, you got anything along the lines of that?
No, I was just gonna say, when like you were saying, like if it's tilted weirdly and you get a picture with it, look for like waves. That's a big thing, like waves in the covers.
I
Sometimes
think
that means water damage.
yes, and but that's very important what you said there, Jose, because a lot of new books get these waves in them due to the printing process. There's a difference between water damage waves and the regular printing process waves. You know a water damage wave. I mean, it's very noticeable when you see it. But that is
Well, you can feel water damage because it's harder. Like
Yes.
the paper's harder.
yes. Also,
I think
go ahead, Kyle.
it's another red flag to look for when you're on online auctions and eBay things. If anybody tells you that it's mint,
It's not.
it's not.
Agree? I don't agree on
Never
that.
is.
I don't agree. I totally disagree on that. I think that
How many mint books have you gotten?
That's
I-
gotten mint.
Not near mint.
I just put up 15 books the other night, and 4 or 5 of those books, I really think have a 99% shot at a 9.8. And if they're at that
That's near
point,
mint.
but I mean, come on, you're grasping straws here. If it's a raw book, if somebody says mint, I mean, it's a raw book.
Anytime someone just says it's mint, I pass by it.
Why? It could be a killer deal.
If it's too good to be true, it
one of my
probably
rules.
is.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
And I like to undergrade it a little bit so that when they get it, it's a little bit above their expectation and they're a little bit happier.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to find a mint book.
Yeah. I mean,
If you look in the season,
10.0s, I
hard to
guess.
find a 10.
Yeah. But
Like near mint plus, I'll stick with, I believe into that, but
yeah, or high grade. High grade is another one. Another thing is,
or new and bad from that one too.
yeah. Another thing is, sometimes it's good to look at the inside of the book. Now, a lot of sellers will put the color of the pages and what the inside of the book looks like. So I like that sometimes. That's always good to see. One of the things about Facebook auctions, though, is obviously they're not pulling books out of the bag and board. So I think with Facebook auctions, as it's becoming a growing thing it's becoming so big, and it could turn into something amazing. But it will continue, as it continues to grow, and new things will happen. New people will come up with ideas on how to show those books better. But right now, it's kind of like the Wild West. So just know that going in, that on these online auctions and stuff like that you might not be getting the highest grade books. So just know that, because you can't really tell. Now, that's why it's always great to have a graded book, because 99% of the time or 90% of the time, those books are going to reflect those grades if you're going with a reputable grader. Another thing is to remember different volumes on the books. So keep an eye out for that. Sorry, Tim, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you guys something, because I've been playing with Facebook auctions a lot. How confident are you when you look at a book through pictures with what you're getting? I mean, I understand what you're saying about looking at spine ticks and all that, but I know you guys are more seasoned than I am. When you're looking at a book like that, how confident are you in your ability to look at the picture and know what you're actually going to get when you open the package?
I'm not with Facebook at all.
Any online auction is hard, because like Kyle was saying, or not Kyle, but Brian was saying last week with Mylars, and Kyle kind of touched on it too. Mylars can go a long way on Facebook auctions to make the book look better than it is. Kyle could be the first one to attest to you, because he's had it happen to him where the book looks awesome and the grader's like, oh yeah, it's a near mint, or it's a 9.6 in this Mylar, and you get it and the book's an absolute piece of shit. So you got to be real careful when buying online. Like I usually, when I do eBay or online auctions, I ask for multiple pictures. Like they say, I'll say, can I see it out of the Mylar? Can I see the corners? Can I see the spine? Like you got to just get into meticulous to asking your questions, and a lot of good sellers won't even blink an eye at it. They'll be like, all right, cool, well, I'll get that for you. But some of them, if they give you trouble with it, especially seeing it out of the Mylar, it's a red flag to me.
Another thing, Tim, that might
I
help.
also buy from a lot of the same sellers.
That's what I was going to say. The most important thing to look for is Facebook doesn't really have the thing that eBay has, which is your feedback score. That feedback score is so important. And because Facebook doesn't have it, it's that Wild West, you know? So even though I really want to jump into the Facebook auctions, I really want to, you know, try and see how that plays out. And, you know, I think that's the way we're going. It's just new. It's very new. And we really only have a couple of options for online buying other than going to the stores directly. And that's really, you know, My Comic Shop, eBay, Facebook. There's only a couple of them. So that can kind of be a bummer.
So what I do with first time Facebook people that I haven't dealt with before, when I go through their auctions and I look at their pictures, I look at what they grade, and we'll get into this later, but there's actual sites on Facebook where you can go and there's ratings on people and how they've shipped and how close their grades are and if they've scanned people and if they've messed with people. There's ways you can go into these groups and you can find these people's names and you can see what kind of reputation they have. You know, another good thing to do is go into these buy and scammer groups, and we'll have him on next week. So I want to talk about that.
Yeah, this will be our comic topic of the week next week.
Hey, I'm thinking about buying this book from so-and-so. Has anybody bought from them before? And then people come on and be like, yep, he's a trusted seller. So once you get that relationship, like I have a few people that I buy books down. If they say it's the grade, it's the grade. I totally believe them. And for the most part, my regular people that I buy from, they've been pretty spot on. Yeah. And so, but it doesn't hurt to do your homework. And there's a lot of groups out there that will, if you take the time, will help you with that homework.
Yes. Yes, rely on each other. That's what's so great about this community aspect of comics. You create a group of people, a network of people that you can trust because they need to be able to trust you because you're helping each other. And when there's, you know, dirtbags that enter that group, they get caught pretty quick and get ousted. And because nobody wants to get ripped off in this community. Nobody wants to see anybody get ripped off in this community. So the community aspect is so important. So that's a great point, Kyle, that would work for Tim, is to have him join these communities and become vocal and, you know, ask questions and talk to people through DMs. Definitely don't. A couple of things that I want to say don't do. Don't go into these groups and ask little questions, just, you know, constant little questions, this and that. It's one thing if you have, you know, like a little big question, but don't just barrage them with stuff. Feel out the group first. See how things react. Read their about page. Read their rules. You're joining this group. Learn how to play the game.
How they work.
Yes. So that's very important in my opinion. I'm trying to think of something else. Do you have anything, Matt, that you can think of?
The other thing you got to be careful is, like Brian said, do your homework. Know what you're looking for. Know what you're going after, because there's some of these issues out there where you might think you have a first to print, and you don't. And do you know how to tell the difference between a first and second print on the barcode and all that? That it'll show you on the barcode whether it's a first or second print. If
it doesn't have the barcode, then ask them to look inside where it says printing.
Yeah.
In the
or the front
yeah,
or
yeah.
the back.
Yeah.
Like
And we'll get into first and second printings. That'll definitely be a topic coming up soon. That's something we really need to talk about, and how to look for, tell if a cover's a variant. So that's definitely something we're going to be talking
if you
about.
look on the barcode, like right here, you probably can't see it through my camera. It'll say like 21011. If it's a second printing, it'll tell you right there whether there's a 1 or a 2, whether it's a second or a third, or those numbers will change depending on the printing. So that's something to definitely keep in mind too as well. And because there's some comics out there that are like, what one comes to mind is Spider-Man 301, the white cover. There's many different variants of that cover, and they all look the same, and it's very easy to get tripped up.
Yeah, it's like that with a lot of books. A lot of key books, they have they'll have Marvel Legends variants. They'll have newsstand variants. They'll have Canadian variants. And it can be very confusing. And that's kind of our plan with this comic topic of the week. Not to give you the totally brand new beginner stuff, but kind of like, the intermediate stuff that might help you down the road. The really simple stuff you can kind of figure out on your own. But this stuff is stuff that you might not find in those simple pages or those simple beginner stuff. This is kind of stuff that we along the way have learned on our own that we're trying to give to you. So
we're basically trying with this whole little segment each week. We're trying to stop you guys from being suckers, because I think we've all been taken advantage of at some point throughout this game and made suckers and made simple mistakes where we got taken for a ride. Like, just Brian had it happen to him a couple of weeks ago with that Vampirella cover, where you thought it was the first printing and it turned out not to be. And like that Spider-Man 301 I'm talking about, there's toy variants, there's different variants that look identical to the correct first printing. You just got to do your homework and make sure like there's sites out there that'll break down what specifically to look for, and you just got to be very careful that you don't get taken for a ride when you're dealing with online auctions and Facebook auctions, or even eBay, and kind of research, know your first appearances, because there's a lot of people out there that like to stamp a book as a character's first appearance, and it's their first cover appearance, or
God,
like that
one
happens
that pisses me off.
constantly, or like they're like it's their first appearance. No, that's a cameo appearance. Like it's just there's lots of things you got to watch out for.
Yeah, it can get deep. So, but yeah, I mean,
Hulk 180's first appearance.
Yeah.
The biggest one I think is a Gambit one.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll get into that. Those will be future topics and stuff like that. But so we wanted to kind of just give you a quick idea about how to deal with eBay and online auctions, and what to not get taken.
Another thing is know what stuff is going for before you start bidding on stuff. It's easy to get caught up in the moment of wanting a book, and you just keep incrementing it. So it's really good to be able to know what it's worth, know your cutoff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
okay. I can go on eBay. I can get it for $15. Why is this guy selling it for $41? Why are these people paying these crazy prices? So it's just, and I guess it's kind of a know when to hold them and know when to hold them type of thing.
Yeah.
Just know what you're buying.
Yeah.
And it really boils down to do your homework.
Yeah.
Knowing your cutoff too I couldn't have come up with a better suggestion, Kyle. Knowing your cutoff, because there's been many a times where Kyle and I will sit in the same Facebook auction and we're watching this fodder book go for, twice, 3 times what you can buy it for on eBay. Like, it'll be a book that's going for $5 on eBay, and these people are paying $30, $40, $50 for it, and you're sitting here shaking your head, going, "What's going on right now?" And
I think it's excitement of being in the live auction is what I think what happens.
That, and there's a lot of, and you don't know if this person maybe has someone in there with them that's bidding up the book to try and get more money out of you, to try and bid it up. So, just like know your cutoff, man. Do your research the book real quick if you're not sure on eBay, and
it's just like with everything else, just be prepared.